Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel Indian Bull vs Bear. This is the ninth video of the series, The Final Missing Piece. In today's video, I will analyze the steel sector. This video is structured in three sections. First, I'll give a brief introduction of the sector. Then I'll share 5 graphs with you and explain them in order to identify some trend. Finally, I'll also share my takeaways from each of those graphs. Please read the entire disclaimer carefully and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and comment, share, like and press the bell notification icon. So the steel sector is a critical part of India's economy, contributing about 2% to GDP and employing millions of Indian citizens. India is the second largest producer of crude steel globally, with production exceeding 125 million tons annually. The sector is cyclical, heavily influenced by global demand, raw material prices and government policies. The growth drivers of this sector includes infrastructure and construction, manufacturing and auto sector, and export opportunities, especially to US and Europe. The challenges that this sector is facing includes raw material costs, global steel prices, and environmental regulations. In order to see the historical trend, we'll see the following graphs. First, yearly returns graph. In this, we'll see the yearly returns over last 10 years of top 10 companies of this sector. The top 10 companies comprises of 9 large cap and 1 mid cap companies. Second graph will be the yearly swing graph. In this graph, we'll see the number of positive and negative returns months in the last 10 years. The third graph will be the monthly returns over last 10 years. In this graph, we'll see the monthly returns across last 10 years. Fourth graph will be the mean monthly returns graph. In this graph, I have taken the average of returns across each month in the last 10 years. And finally, we'll see the monthly swing graph, in which we'll see the number of positive and negative returns here. So please do not skip any portion of this video and watch it in full. You are going to learn a lot, which will help you to take your own decisions in future. So the first graph is the yearly returns graph. This is the line graph with two lines. One is this blue line, other one is this orange line. The blue line shows the yearly returns percentage, whereas the orange line shows the cumulative yearly returns percentage. So 2015 was a good year for this sector with 14.80% returns. 2016 was even better with 28.88% returns. And 2017 seems to be a very, very good year for this sector with 96.48% returns. But 2018 was very poor year for this sector, and the sector actually gave negative returns in that year with minus 16.23%. 2019 proved to be an average year for the sector, and the sector gave returns of 8.09%. 2020 proved to be a very good year for the sector, and the sector gave returns of 66.67%. Then 2021 seems to be even better year for this sector, and the sector gave 84.10% returns. In 2022, the returns decreased as compared to 2021, but still gave a very respectable returns of 21.18%. 2023 again was a very good year for this sector, and the sector gave yearly returns of 60.82%. And finally, 2024 was an average return for this was an average year for this sector, and it gave return of 9.49%. And we can see the way the cumulative returns pattern. So this is how the cumulative returns work. So by the time the 2024 ends, this sector gave cumulative returns of 1623.40%. So what is the takeaway from this sector? So the takeaway is the cumulative return. So the cumulative returns, as I mentioned, were 16.23.40%. That means 17x. So anyone who has invested in this sector in 2015 and remained invested has got his money multiplied 17 times by the end of 2024. So massive, massive returns over the last 10 years in this sector. Let's move on to the next graph, which is the yearly swing graph. In this graph, these green bars shows the number of months with positive returns, and whereas these red bars shows the number of months with negative returns. So in 2015, only 5 months gave positive returns. In 2016, 7 gave positive returns. 2017 seems to be a very good year for this sector, and 10 months out of 12 gave positive returns. In 2018, only 3 gave positive returns. In 2019, 7 positive. Then came 2020 and 2021. In both of these years, 9 out of 12 months gave positive returns in this sector. 2022, 8 positive. 2023, 10 out of 12 months gave positive returns. So very good year for the sector. And 2024, 8 months gave positive returns and 4 negative. And we all are aware that last 3 months of 2024 saw significant correction across the board, across the sectors in the entire Indian share market. So what is the takeaway from this? The takeaway is that the CAGR over the last 10 years of the sector is 32.93. It's a humongous CAGR, very, very good CAGR of 32.93%. Let's move on to the next graph, which is the monthly returns over last 10 years. So this graph comprises of 12 smaller graphs, one for each month. So you see there is one for Jan, one for Feb, another one for March, similarly for April, and so on. And these red bars shows the negative returns, whereas these green bars shows the positive returns in January in certain year. So in January, in last 10 years, 5 times it gave positive returns, whereas 5 times it gave negative returns. So on average month for this sector, I would say February only 3 positive, 2017, 2019 and 2021, and 7 negative. So this month doesn't seems to be a good year for this, a good month for this sector. Moving on to March, 7 positive and 3 negative, with this standout being the COVID crash. Then comes April, and something special happened over here. Last 10 years, each and every time this sector gave positive returns in April. 100% record of positive returns in April. Moving on to May, only 3 positive returns, 2021, 2023, and 2024, and 7 negative. So clearly one of the month where this sector underperforms. Moving on to June, 6 positive and 4 negative. July, a very good month for the sector with 8 positive and only 2 negative returns in last 10 years. August, 7 positive, so good month. September, 8 positive, so very good month for this sector. October, 7 positive and 3 negative. November, 5 positive, 5 negative apiece, and December, 7 positive. So what is that we can take away from this graph? It is that in the last 10 years, there is a one net negative yearly returns that the sector has given. So you need to be aware of that this sector is cyclical in nature, and you could have an odd year here and there where this sector might give a yearly negative return. Let's move on to the next graph, which is the mean monthly returns graph. And the first look itself is quite evident, give a clear idea of how this sector performs in certain months like in January, February, March, and May. So these 4 months, this sector historically has given negative returns. So that means at least first quarter of the year is not good for this sector at all. But again, incomes April and historically 9.54% returns in last 10 years in April. So this is the massive returns, and so these are the average returns in last 10 years. Okay, and other good months are July is a good month for the sector, November is a good month, December is a good month. So what is the takeaway from this graph? Takeaway is that January, February, March, and May are the cheapest months for this sector. This sector, historically speaking, underperforms in these 4 months. Let's move on to the final graph, which is the monthly swing graph. So in last 10 years, January gave positive returns 5 times, negative 5 times. February only 3 times it gave positive returns. March it gave positive returns 7 times. And April is a standout performer with all the last 10 years it gives positive returns. May only 3 positive, June 6 positive, July seems to be a good month for the sector with 8 positive returns out of last 10 years. August 7 positive, September 8 positive, October 7 positive, November 5 positive, and December 7 positive in last 10 years. So what is the takeaway? Takeaway is that April, July, and December are the costliest months for the sector. The sector shines in these months. So I have presented the graphs in front of you. Go through the graphs again. Pick up a trend that would be very helpful for you in your future investment decisions. So that is all from me on this video. Thanks for watching, and subscribe to the channel, like and comment it. I'll be back soon with another video. Goodbye for now.